Hey guys, how are you today? Today's on schizophrenia and first onset peril. Schizophrenia and first onset peril. But before we get to this peril, please allow my brief prelude. As you know, I've conveniently recorded it for our mutual comfort, our mutual convenience, and our mutual luxury. And as far as preludes go, it is quite luxurious, kind of like a Cadillac. Sounds like this.
Hello there, my name is Robert Francis. You've stumbled on my Conquering Schizophrenia YouTube channel.
Hey.
Where me and the bird.
Hey.
That's right. We talk schizophrenia.
That's Mikey's a crow.
This is the cut of my jib right here for reasons of my medical confidentiality.
He flies in the sun.
I'm a licensed clinical social worker times 15 years. That's a lot of gabbing and chatting.
Oy vey.
I've been diagnosed with schizophrenia for a score 5 and 1. And that puts a little gray fleck in my beard.
I don't mind gray fleck.
Thank you for joining me on my channel. Now to topic.
The gray fleck on the beard is increasing. It's advancing. The front is advancing down the jib. Today's topic is schizophrenia and first onset. Schizophrenia and first onset peril. This is a very important video, actually. It's actually quite serious. In your early 20s or late teens, when schizophrenia usually first arrives during the first onset phase, can be a very, very, very perilous time in the schizophrenia trajectory. The first onset time, usually when it first occurs in the late teens and early 20s, can be very, very perilous because oftentimes we do not know that we have schizophrenia yet because it's just emerging, and therefore we have no context or insight. We don't know what's happening, and we're very, very psychotic. And during this time, it's not uncommon for people to act very, very erratically. And during this first onset time, there is a great peril because, we're so paranoid and feeling persecutory that we might act out on those ideations. And unfortunately, there's a lot of adverse outcomes during the first onset period. Again, because we don't have any insight, we have no control over our behavior, we don't know what's going on, we think the world is against us, and people may act out. And unfortunately, there's a lot of adverse outcomes where people wind up incarcerated for their actions. That's why there's so many mentally ill in the prisons. Not just specifically so, but in a general sense, there's a lot of people who have mental illness or schizophrenia incarcerated due to their behaviors during a first onset occurrence, where they had no insight and really no control over their behaviors. So this first onset time is very, very perilous because we have no context of the schizophrenia, and we may act out and have adverse outcomes. Could happen in employment, it could be criminal, it can be burning bridges, it can be, damaging relationships and things like this. But once we get beyond the first onset, then the trajectory changes and we have a context and we gain more responsibility for our actions, if not all our responsibility. But that only occurs after we develop some context of the schizophrenia. The responsibility then ensues. At this point in my life, I'm totally responsible for my behaviors. There's no excuses. But during the first onset, that wasn't the case with me, and I survived it without hugely adverse outcomes. I just want you to be aware of that time, how perilous the first onset can be. And if you survive it, then, we count our blessings and develop a sense of responsibility around our illness. So be aware of the peril of the first onset, especially if you're supporting somebody going through that period. All right, guys, thanks for joining me today on the Conquering Schizophrenia YouTube channel. That was pretty grim. We'll try to get on a little cheerier topics in the future. But it's very important. All right, thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.